Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our information session on our accelerated Master of Public Health program in health promotion. I am Eric Brab. I'm the Assistant Director of Recruitment and Admissions for the College of Public Health. We're also joined today by Dr. Jamie Dowling. She is an assistant professor in our Department of Health Promotion and the program director for our accelerated MPH program. So today we're just going to be going over some information about the program, about admissions, tuition. There will be also plenty of time for your questions. So we're excited to talk to you about our new accelerated program. So I will go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Dowling to start off a little bit about the program.
All right, everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. I'm really excited to share information with you about this program. And if you've got any questions, feel free to, if you're afraid you'll forget, you can either type them in the chat box or you can ask at the end. It's up to you either way. But let's get started. So initially, I want to talk a little bit about what you could expect as a student, specifically within this accelerated MPH program experience. So, an overview. Maybe one of the things you're trying to decide is an MPH right for me? So, a Master of Public Health degree essentially is a professional graduate degree that focuses on population health. And that's very broad. Public health can go lots of different ways in different avenues. It can go into prevention-based education, all sorts of efforts and programming to reduce health disparities, driving positive change in the healthcare system, developing healthcare initiatives, research, and public policy. Next slide. So, with a little bit of a background on what public health or Masters of Public Health would do, what type of positions or what type of careers could you look forward to with that type of training? Well, this is just a selection of potential job titles for someone with this degree, also with this specific focus, which for our program at this point is health promotion. So again, also pretty broad. You can do a lot of different things with this degree, but commonly you'll see people work in community outreach as coordinators or directors, program managers for whether it's grant programs, government programs, for-profit or nonprofit health programming, public health education, director of health and wellness. If you're into wellness, whether it's corporate wellness or university wellness, you'll see a lot of MPHs working in those positions. Health promotion coordinators, researchers, and even in hospital administration. So you can see that there's a very wide range of potential career paths for somebody with a Master's of Public Health, especially with health promotion. Next slide. I do want to touch briefly on competencies. So one question that people may have is, okay, this is a new program, so is it accredited? How do we know we'll be receiving a quality education? And I think it's important to share that our program is accredited by the Council on Education for Public Health. And this is because UNMC's College of Public Health is accredited by CEF, the Council on Education for Public Health. And that is the accrediting body for public health programming in our country. So it helps to assure quality in public health education and training, and that we're advancing the science and practice of public health. Within that accreditation, we have to make certain competencies and have to have our students meet those competencies. And I won't go through all of them, but I do just want to show you that these are the types of content and curriculum pieces that you can look forward to experiencing. So the competencies that are listed on the next two slides are specific to CEF. So our program meets those, and as does the traditional Masters of Public Health program in the college as well. So looking into evidence-based approaches for public health and healthcare systems, planning and management to promote health. Next slide. Policy, leadership, communication, and then also interprofessional or intersectoral practice. And these might sound kind of vague, but if you think about the slides I shared earlier that showed how diverse public health can be and how people with an MPH can really be found in just about any venue in the health realm and otherwise, you can see why these competencies are still important to include. So being able to evaluate what a policy is and its impact on the health of a population. Understanding that as experts in public health, we need to have a leadership or some type of management role when it comes time to working with the population to improve health. Communicating appropriately and educating appropriately and being able to tailor messages to different audiences. And then lastly, as a public health practitioner, you work with all sorts of disciplines, not only people in your field, but people in medicine, in government, in education, and just about every sector possible. And so learning how to do that is an important part of the MPH program. Next slide. So this specific program, let's talk a little bit more about what this looks like. So this is an accelerated Masters of Public Health program. So students will be in a cohort with fellow learners starting with the program at the same time, and then we'll work through all of the curriculum with their cohort. It's a 1 year commitment, August to August. And because of that, it is a very fast-paced curriculum, and students will spend about an estimated 40 hours a week on program content. I think one thing that's really valuable about this program is that working with the same other students, your cohort, it does foster that sense of community and support, despite the fact that learners are really geographically spread everywhere and we're all remote. Also, in a typical online class, you might meet with a professor, if you drop into office hours or if there's an issue. But this particular program, because of the intensity of it, there's a lot more communication with the instructor and the class and with the class in and of themselves. And that helps to foster learning as well. So what you can expect to learn. Those core competencies that I mentioned. And as also discussed earlier, this specific public health focus for this program is health promotion. Okay, next slide. So who would be a good fit for this? Who should apply? Well, there's a range of students that potentially could be very successful in this program. So firstly, it's helpful if somebody has well-defined career goals. So you've already thought about the fact that an MPH will help you meet your career goals, that will help you do the kind of career that you find fulfilling and that you enjoy and that adds value. If somebody has a really good time management ethic and study skill ethic, and somebody is able to be self-directed as a student, that person will likely be very successful in this program. Additionally, students who would prefer to finish their degree in 1 year. They have 1 year to just knock it out and get in there and live and breathe everything public health instead of taking the 2.5-ish years that a typical full-time MPH program traditional would take. It could also be a student who wants to gain valuable experience and knowledge maybe after a bachelor's program, but before they start a clinical program, whether that's a medical school applicant, whether that's a person looking for fellowships or even waiting for a residency. So maybe you have a gap year and you're looking to add more value and add more learning to your health education. This would be a good opportunity. And then also students who enjoy remote and online learning environments. Furthermore, a student who can dedicate the time to a full-time program. So if, you are somebody who needs to work full time, this may not be the best fit for your schedule because of that additional 40 hours that you're going to really be spending as a student in this program. So you need to be able to dedicate that full-time time. You're comfortable with fast-paced learning environments. You're able to communicate. And as I mentioned, you're a self-directed learner and can take initiative. Next slide. So this is what the curriculum would look like. So the master's program is 42 credit hours. And I have another slide that further explains this. But starting in the fall, so this August, there would be 15 credit hours. And this looks like a lot, but let me break this down a little bit for you. So several of these classes listed under fall. The foundations course, the biostats course, the planning and evaluation course, and the leadership and advocacy course. You only take those one at a time. Those four courses are in 4 week chunks, one at a time. So four courses times 4 weeks is a traditional 16-week semester. So you're focusing on one of those at a time. While that's going on, you have a seminar class that actually lasts the whole 16 weeks. It's less intensive because it is stretched out. And the seminar class is on all different health topics, depending what's relevant and what's emerging in the field of public health at that time. The second class that's stretched out over the semester is health literacy and communication. And again, this one is going to be less intensive. It's meant to kind of pair along with the other classes that you're taking at the time. And you'll have much less frequent assignments and ratings, but they'll be scattered throughout that semester. And then APEX, which I will talk more about. That's the Advanced Public Health Experience. So we'll dive into that in a few slides. And then the same for the spring semester. So then starting in January through May-ish, another 15 credit hours. So this time, the 4 week classes that you'll be focusing on are EPI, health behavior, my personal favorite, intro to health disparities, and then applied research. So each of those you'll take one at a time, and they're 4 weeks each. And then throughout the whole spring semester, you'll take the next section of health literacy and communication. So essentially, health lit and communication 2. A different seminar in public health. So it'll be a different public health topic. And then the next part of your APEX. And then lastly, summer, which is 12 credit hours. There's one fewer class. And you have 3 4 week classes. You have interventions in health promotion, public health environment society, and strategic planning and management. So you have 12 weeks of those 3 classes. While that's going on, you have APEX. So that's wrapping up your APEX experience. And then the third part of health literacy and communication. And then you'll end with the comprehensive exam, which I'll talk more about on the next slide too. So this is another way to look at the calendar. So I have it broken out here. Fall semester for if you're looking at this upcoming year, will run August 24th through December 18th. You have the 4 classes, one at a time, and then those 3 all semester. We've got a little winter break there for you. And then spring semester starts again, 4 classes, 4 weeks each, a few classes spread throughout the semester. And then on the next slide, we have summer break. You have much shorter, about a week off before summer starts. And then that takes us through August. The last 2 weeks of the program is the comprehensive exam and finishing with everything by August 20th. And then you would graduate if you wanted to participate in commencement. You could come to Nebraska to Omaha and you would, I believe it's the December commencement that they would participate in. So you would be able to do that. Otherwise, you're finished when you pass your exam then. So I could break the exam and APEX down on the next couple slides. So let's get into that. Important features. So any accredited Master of Public Health program that you go to, whether it's virtual, in-person, traditional, is going to have an applied practice experience. And so what this is essentially an interactive internship where you are in the field, ideally working in some type of facility that you're interested in. So whatever, maybe you're interested in working with children with type 1 diabetes or whatever special population you might have an interest in. So the fall semester, the first semester of the program, you would began working on all the paperwork part of what that might look like, finding a site, getting an affiliation agreement, getting your learning contract together with your partner site. And we do have staff who help you with that. We actually have UNMC's College of Public Health already has agreements in place with practicum locations and sites. all throughout Omaha, Nebraska, the country, even some globally. So if it's possible that there could already be a site in our network that would work for you, if not, we can, work through all those onboarding tasks that need to happen. So the second part of Apex is when you develop what the tangible outputs are. So what are you going to be getting out of your Apex experience? What do you want to learn? And you start your hours at your preceptor site. And then the third part, so the summer part of Apex, the rest of your hours are completed, which is about 100 hours over the course of the entire program, over the course of the year. And then you do a final presentation to your preceptor site and myself or faculty that are involved, just kind of talking about what you've learned. And at that point, we would go through what that presentation should look like with you. And next slide. And then the other important feature of this program, many Master of Public Health programs have a capstone experience, which is kind of like a cumulative large project that gives you a chance to show all those skills you've learned and fine-tuned while in the program. It's a chance to show that you can meet the competencies that have been identified in the program. And that is difficult to do in this sort of setting. And so you might find that some MPH programs offer an opportunity to take a comprehensive exam instead. And so that's what this program is doing. So instead of having to do that project in addition to the APEX, the final product of your accelerated MPH program is this capstone exam. So it is a way to show that you can demonstrate the skills that you've learned and that you are essentially a public health master at this point. And so I'm sure that's something people have questions about, and I'm happy to ask them or answer them at the end. But you definitely receive support when it comes time to knowing what's on the exam and studying and all that sort of thing that's built into the program as well. So you will be well prepared. And yeah, I think that's about the last thing I have to say about the comprehensive exam. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Eric, and he will go through the admissions and tuition piece. And then at the end, we will get to your questions.
All right, thank you very much. So yeah, talking a little bit about admission requirements, tuition for the program. So, program does have prerequisites. So we look for a minimum of bachelor's degree with a cumulative GPA of 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. And then there's some required undergraduate coursework that we look for. Basically, a general biology course with grade of B or higher preferred, college level statistics, algebra, calculus course with B or higher grade preferred. And then basic admission application requirements for the program. All of our applications go through SOFAS. SOFAS is just National Application Service that most colleges of public health use. So SOFAS application is going to require official transcripts from all prior schools that you've attended. If you have non-US transcripts, they would have to go through a third-party evaluation through World Education Services, so through WES, using their course-by-course evaluation service. You're going to upload a current copy of resume or CV, a personal statement of intent, which I'll go into a little more detail about the personal statement here in a moment. For any students whose primary language is not English, or they do not have a previous degree from a U.S. institution, or their degrees not from a country whose only official language is English, we do have English proficiency requirements of either TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo. If you do have to take an English proficiency exam, we typically recommend taking a look at Duolingo, just because that's usually the most cost-effective and quickest option. And then 3 letters of recommendation from academic or professional sources. And then a little more about letters of recommendation, kind of some suggested guidelines. Ideally, they're going to be from either recent professors, researchers, or employers. If you're a recent graduate, graduating in the past 1 to 3 years, like to see at least one of those references from former faculty member, so an academic reference. If you are someone who has been working, say for, been out of school more than 3 years, been working, at that point, all professional references would be fine at that point, because obviously we understand as you get further away from that bachelor's degree, you may lose contact with previous instructors. And then personal statement of intent, 1 page. Basically, you're going to be describing your interest in public health, what your career goals are, and do kind of a self-assessment of your readiness to complete an accelerated program. So, kind of addressing your personal strengths, your time management skills, yeah, your quantitative ability, your writing ability, who's your support system um, as you're attending the program, because it is an intensive program as we've gone over. So you're going to be spending about 40 hours a week um, on your program. So kind of just basically that self-assessment of why you're ready for such a program. Um, and backtracking just for a second with letters of recommendation, one thing that I always also recommend when you're looking at letters of recommendation, when you're requesting a letter of recommendation from someone and they say yes, we automatically typically assume that they're going to write us a good letter of recommendation. I will say that is not always the case. We have received letters of recommendation where students they didn't highly recommend them for the program. So what I always recommend is have a discussion with the folks that you're requesting these letters from. Um, Let them know why you're wanting this program, why you feel you'll be successful. Keeping in mind that folks that are writing these letters are typically have very busy schedules. A lot of the letters of recommendation we receive on the applications come in on Fridays. It's the last thing they're kind of have on their plate for the week, and they want to make sure they get it done for you. Um, but the more they understand why you're wanting to do a program, why you feel you'd be successful, you're helping to guide that letter. They're kind of check marking boxes in their head, like yes, okay, I can see them doing this. I can tell they're passionate about this. So don't be afraid to ask them, are you able to write me a good letter of recommendation? So, and as you're having these conversations, it's for your benefit as well, because if you have a conversation and you kind of get a sense you're not quite sure, I'm not getting a good feeling of whether or not it doesn't seem they want to tell me, they can't tell me no, because some people just can't say no. Uh, and you're not getting a feeling that you think they'd be able to write you a good letter, find another. Move on. Just some advice from what we've seen in the past on applications. So application deadline, this program admits every fall. So March 1st is our application deadline. That March 1st deadline is to have the application submitted. We can typically allow up to March 15th to receive supporting documentation like your transcripts, letters of recommendation, kind of those items that are kind of out of your control and how quick they get sent. So March 1st to submit, March 15th to have everything received as far as supporting documentation, and then tuition. So being an online program, we do not charge out-of-state tuition for online. So $6.58 per credit hour is our current tuition for online. For the 42 credit hour program with tuition and fees, you're looking at an approximate total cost right around $32,000 for the program. And then what I've listed out here as far as funding opportunities for graduate level programs. So federal financial aid through the FAFSA. This is a program that is eligible for federal financial aid. When we think of federal financial aid for graduate level coursework, basically it's student loans. Undergraduate, like Pell Grant, things of that nature, those are strictly for undergraduate degrees. So federal student loans, which are basically Stafford loans, are what's eligible for federal financial aid. There is scholarship opportunity. Once a student is admitted into one of our programs, about a week later, they will have access to our scholarship application. We have one scholarship application that you complete that allows us to review you for all open opportunities within the college. So scholarships aren't guaranteed; they're awarded on a competitive basis. But last year we issued, with new and current students, we issued about 95 scholarships, totaling just over $800,000. So the opportunity is there. Um, if you are working, I always recommend that you reach out to your employer to see if you are eligible for any kind of tuition assistance through your employer. And then also, some of our students will use multiple. They may have a partial scholarship and then they're paying out of pocket for the rest. Self-pay options. We charge tuition by the semester. So, however many credit hours that you're registered for that semester depends your tuition bill for that semester. That can either be paid as that semester begins, or we also, our financial aid office does have payment plans where you can break that up over 3 or 4 payments through the semester as well. So at this point, we are going to open it up to any questions that you guys have. If you want to unmute to ask a question, feel free. If you're more comfortable putting it in the chat, we'll take a look at the chat and answer any questions that you have. And one thing I wanted to confirm, Austin, I saw your question in the chat, and I saw you put it in there right before we got to that section of the presentation. I wanted to make sure that to see if you had any other questions about that, or if you were clear on the kind of the length of the classes and kind of that outline. Perfect. All right. So, what other questions can we answer?
Hi, Mr. Brab. This is Nathan Wargery.
Yes.
I met with you a couple of times. I'm enrolled to be at UNMC for like the regular 2.5 year program this fall, but I was wondering if I had to reapply or like redo some of my letters of rec that I asked for already when I deferred for like 2026 last year. How exactly could I go about that? And because I'm actually very interested in this accelerated program.
Okay. So and remind me, Nathan, you applied for fall of 25 and deferred, correct?
That
Or
is correct.
okay.
Yeah.
For this program, we would need a SOFIS application submitted for this program because we can't review for a program with accreditation and everything. We have to have an application. What the items you would not have to do, you would not have to reorder your transcripts. Your transcripts will automatically transfer to the new application. Your letters of recommendation, you would, with the new application, you would be entering in your recommenders information again. They would receive a new link for the recommendation letters, but if you're using the same ones, when they go into that link, there is an option for them to resubmit. So they wouldn't have to do anything new. They could just resubmit what they've already submitted. They would just have to resubmit again, and then you would just re-upload your resume CV, and then obviously you'd have to re-upload a personal statement because this personal statement would be slightly different than your traditional MPH personal statement. And then once you submit that SOFIS application, we can then, yes, definitely review you for the program, and then you can kind of you have your option at that point. If you receive an admissions offer for this program, you can accept this one and move forward with this, and then that we would just move your traditional MPH program to declined offer. Or if you decide to stick with the traditional MPH, kind of same thing. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Just one extra question. So I did enroll for epidemiology
Mm-hmm.
for the fall, but I wasn't like super duper set on it. Just confirming. So this is a fully online course, correct? And it
Mm-hmm.
is like for health promotion specifically.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's for health promotion concentration specifically, and yes, 100% online, asynchronous, just like the traditional online courses.
So yeah, so given that it's 100% online, okay, so then like how will are there like teachers and like office hours and stuff like that for each of the classes? And like additionally with the seminar is that like what part of it is in person, if any?
I can let you address that, Jamie.
Sure. So there will definitely be office hours that are available and prob more than what a typical class I think would offer. And as far as the seminar, everything will be recorded. It's a recorded lecture for everything that you will be watching at whenever your time allows. So it's not like Tuesdays at noon, you have to be available at this time. So there's flexibility when it comes to that aspect of it. As far as what the scheduled meetings are with, I shouldn't say meetings, office hours or open, room pop-ins or open optional meetings, I guess I should say, between the instructor and classmates. Those will vary based on, what's going on that week and try to vary different schedules because people are in different time zones. So there won't be a specific set schedule that you will need to be available. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, okay. No, that is very helpful. Okay. Then I guess just one more question.
Mhm.
Biggest thing is like, getting into the workforce, at least for me when I get this degree. So I was kind of curious about this APEX program, Advanced Public Health Experience program.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
is that like more like an internship or is it more like a class, in your opinion?
So that's a good question. The part with me as the instructor online is the class piece. So there'll be things we're learning about like professionalism and that sort of thing. But the apex part, so when you're actually in the practicum site doing the things, that's more like an internship. So it is an in-person practical experience. Um, does that answer your question?
Okay, so yeah, just to clarify, it's just making sure I have this down.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, during that Apex program, I will be like in person, like somewhere in Omaha, I'm assuming, with somebody, or do I choose somebody and then kind of do my program through like that public health like program or facility?
So you would choose something that was of interest to you that's in this realm of public health, and then work with us. And we have staff that their role is to assist students with the Apex experience as far as finding a site and making sure that their site is, appropriate and getting contracts in place and that sort of thing. So if you have an idea of some place you'd like to go, then you would work with us to kind of get that ball rolling. But if you need help with suggestions, that's something that we can help as well. Especially if you're in the Omaha area, there's a lot more since a lot of the in-person students are doing their Apex in the Omaha area.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And I just guess like one last question. I know there's a lot of other
Mhm.
questions in the chat, but
That's
like,
okay.
yeah, so uh typically like are there like counselors and advisors through UNMC that could help me like get that job after this degree? Or like what's that process of like at least transitioning to the workforce after this master's program?
And I can address that if,
Sure.
if you like. So yeah, Nathan. So we have a career services department. Brenda Nickel is our director of career services. So you you have the opportunity to work with Brenda, um, as far as working towards employment after graduation. So Brenda helps with resume writing, mock interviews. Um, there's a monthly kind of a monthly newsletter that comes out called Coffee Talk that will have different job postings and things that we know about out there. She helps you search. So yeah, we provide all that assistance for our MPH program right now. We have a 94% employment rate after graduation. So they do a wonderful job helping with all that. Um, and a little adding a little bit also to the your Apex experience for those that who may not be in the Omaha area. Basically, with the kind of internship type work for the Apex. Obviously, if you're in Omaha, very very easy to set up, but In our traditional MPH program, I mean, 70% of the students in that program are online. And they represent, our College of Public Health represents 43 states and actually 38 countries. So as far as that Apex experience, if you're not in the Omaha area, they can set you up right where you're at. So I don't want you to think that if you're in California, you have to come to Omaha for it. You don't. Just obviously, if you're here, yeah, it takes us 2 seconds to set that up. But we've had international students doing our traditional online program, and we've set Apex experiences up in Ghana, in Nigeria. So we can set that up wherever you're at.
Yes, thank you for clarifying that, Eric.
Oh, not a problem. And let's
I
see.
just,
Oh,
oh,
go
yep.
ahead.
I see a question from Austin that I wanted to address. He's been patiently waiting. If we already work for a public health agency, are we able to use this experience towards Apex? Yes, with the caveat being that the scope of what you're doing in your Apex can't be what your employee responsibilities already are, and your Apex preceptor cannot be your direct supervisor. So it would have to be separate from what your full-time role would be. That's a good question. And I think the next question looks like maybe Eric might be able to
Yeah,
answer. I've
so
already applied.
yeah, next one, I've already applied for the regular MPH and I'm waiting a decision. Can my application be considered for the accelerated MPH as well? In order to consider you for the program, yeah, our accreditation just makes us, we have to have an application for that program. What you can do is you can log back into your Sophus application because you can submit multiple applications. You can log back into your Sophus application. What you would do is go to the add program section, add the accelerated MPH. Your transcripts will already be there. You don't need to reorder those. Since you're applying in the same cycle, your letters of recommendation will already be there. You don't have to re-request them. I'd mentioned before about re-requesting them. That's just because if you applied last cycle, deferred, and it's a new cycle, then yes, we need those again, but those would already be there. So all you would have to do is re-upload your resume CV and then update your personal statement to address the accelerated MPH program. So Sophus will charge another application fee, but it's a discounted application fee. When you're applying in the same cycle, Sophus charges $150 for the first application. They discount each one after that down to 60. And we don't charge fees. The National Application Services does, so we don't have the ability to waive that or do anything about that. So you can definitely apply for it. And then it would just be that
I'm
60.
sure at the office.
No, he went to Lincoln with the Novi.
Oh, okay. Oh, there in
Let's see. And then it says, I'm currently in the process of enrolling in the regular program for fall 26 as a full-time worker. I'm considering whether to go through with online or in-person program. My work can be flexible with my schedule, but I'm wondering which you would recommend for the best experience in this program. So if we're talking about the traditional, trying to decide whether on campus or online, what I can say is if you're an online student, you're 100% online. There's not the ability to take an on-campus course. If you're an on-campus student, you actually have the option to enroll in either the on-campus course or the online course. So what a lot of our students do, that they work and they're deciding, okay, do I want to take this class on campus or online? As an on-campus student, when you go to register for the semester, you can take a look at that course schedule and know when those classes are going to be offered. If that works out with your work schedule, you can do the on-campus course. If it doesn't work out with your work schedule, you can do the online course. So that's kind of the easiest way to determine. As far as experience, it's all personal preference, to be honest. Some people prefer on campus, some people prefer online. I can say curriculum's the same, instructors are the same. It's just a different format. So, and if you are in the Omaha area, our online students have the same access to campus as our on-campus students. So you still have access to any of the resources that are on campus. Online students also have access to basically any of the academic resources on campus and online have the access to the same. The only additional things that on-campus students would have access to is like the student health center, the fitness center, things of that nature. Um,
Yeah, and I will also, if I can, I add
Yeah.
on to that. So just to be clear, there's essentially, as of this fall, with this new program, three options for the MPH program. So your traditional in-person program, which is what, 2.5 years, you attend
Mhm.
in person with the option of taking online classes. There's the traditional online program, where again, 2.5 years, but all your courses are online. And then this program is the accelerated program, only online, and it is kind of condensed into the 12-month period. So if you work full-time, the 12-month accelerated program would likely not be the best choice for you because we're
Yes.
encouraging students to not work full-time while in this program because of how intense those 12 months will be with courses. So just to clarify with that.
And then the next one, do we need to find our own capstone project in our local area? Let's see. I just want to clarify when you're mentioning capstone, because capstone would be part of the traditional MPH program. Um, I just want to make sure you're not confusing capstone and Apex. Apex, we can set you up in your own area. As far as if you're in the traditional MPH program, as far as capstone project, you will have a faculty advisor that helps kind of work towards that capstone project. So um,
That
it,
answered my question. It was whether we have to find or maybe capstone, maybe a the
where
called
you
it. Sorry,
The
like the card
Apex.
organization when you're
Apex.
doing your
Yes,
Apex. Okay,
yes, yeah.
basically, well, one, as you're as you're getting ready for with the Apex, also, I also want to mention we have Julia Quickly kind of is over our Apex program, service learning manager. Um, she helps give you all the information that you need as far as the affiliation agreements, things of that nature. And we can definitely assist because we also have a list of every place that we have ever had a student do these. Typically, what we do, if there's in your area, if there's an organization you would like to work, and would like to get that Apex experience, we give you the information you need to kind of reach out first to try to set that up, but we also give you the help to do that. So we just don't put you out there on your own and say go find the company you want to work with and then let us know. No, we provide all the help you need to help set that up.
Okay, got it. Someone will help us find
Oh,
someone
yes.
maybe in our local area to start that
Yes.
Apex. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
we will assist with all that.
Great.
With the Apex, when you're getting ready to start that, there's typically each semester, Julia does Apex orientation sessions where she walks you through all the information that you need.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see.
And the last one, yep. I think, yeah, Eric has addressed this as well. So if you have an application, then you can apply for more than one of our MPH programs at the same time.
Um, oh, and one thing I would like to mention. So, mentioning that you're an international applicant, if you are an international applicant and you are needing F1 visa sponsorship to come to the United States, the accelerated program will not work. It's an online program. We can only do F1 sponsorship for on campus only. So if you are needing that if you're needing an F1 visa, then traditional MPH program on campus would be your option.
Are there any other questions that we can answer for you?
Oh, and Nathan, just to let you know, I can email you the contact information for Brenda Nickel. So that way you have that. Would you be able to explain more on the difference of taking the MPH program through UNO and UNMC? UNO does not have an MPH program. They have a bachelor's in public health. So they have an undergraduate program in public health. But UNMC, for the University of Nebraska system, we are the only University of Nebraska location that has a MPH. Other questions?
If there are any questions that you come up with later that you would like addressed, you can reach out to myself or Eric or the college email that's listed here. Thank you all so much for your time, and hopefully we gave you more information to consider this wonderful opportunity, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you this fall.
Perfect. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
And we will also be forwarding out the recording of this so you have it.
I have one question.
Sure.
It doesn't matter what kind of bachelor's degree we have. Does it have to be particularly in public health or any bachelor's degree?
It does not have to be public health, no. And I think in the requirements, we briefly touched on there are certain classes that we would like you to have experience with, specifically some science and math and stats, that sort of thing, which I believe is all listed in the admissions requirements. But if you have a different field, then that's not necessarily a bad thing. Public health is very diverse. Personally, my undergrad is in social work, and then I went on to get my master's and PhD in public health. So I think that it's okay to have a little bit of a diversity there. But if you would like to know specifically about a program that you've done, a bachelor's that you have, you can feel free to reach out and we can chat further about that if you'd like.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, again, we thank you for your time. We'll get the recording sent out as soon as it updates for us. And then other than that, please don't hesitate to reach out for any questions. If you need any help on the application, that's what we're here for. So more than happy to help. So appreciate your time and hope everybody has a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.